Beyond Synth 379.
You're listening to Beyond Synth Radio. Now get the fuck out of here.
Up next, Marko and Andy spin the best in new synthwave, dark synth, synth pop, and electronic tunes. It's the Marko and Andy Power Hour.
It's the Marko and Andy Power Hour. With Andy Last.
Well, you know I love GoldenEye.
And Marko Marek.
I'm from fucking Australia. Alright, it's time for a spooky Halloween Marko and Andy Power Hour. And as a gift to you this week, I'll do the intro, right? So you don't even have to do it. You don't get to get mad at me.
That's fucking awesome, mate. Bloody hell, that's great.
Happy Halloween, or Halloween's in a few days, or maybe it just passed. I don't know when this is going to air, but this is the Halloween show.
Very excited about this one, Andy.
We picked some dark synth tracks.
Oh, yeah.
I just realized that I haven't done birthday announcements in 2 months, and some other things. We watched the movie Dead Heat, which I guess is sort of a Halloween related. I don't know if it really is.
Well, it does have horror themes, I guess, but it's more of a buddy cop action type movie, I guess, comedy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like it. It's pretty good.
So we watched that, so we'll talk about that, and we got all these things to do. I've got some ball school updates.
Nice. I've been wondering about that.
Yeah, since the last time I talked to you, I've gotten 3 emails from the ball school, so, you know, it's this is a proper Halloween show. For people that don't know, I get these emails from some German gym that has, like, basketball games or volleyball games for kids, and it's called the ball school, and for some reason they send me messages. I'm on their mailing list. I don't know why. The letters are in German, so maybe there's a German like Mr. Last out there. He's got the same email address as I do,
and he likes balls.
And he
like
likes
you do.
balls. See, that's why I wonder why I'm on the list, because I love balls. But I feel like this German guy just likes them, so I don't know why. But whatever. Anyway, the point is we're all having a good time. It's spooky season. Are you having a good spooky season?
So far, so good. I really like it here in America because Halloween's a lot more celebrated. Being in the Northern Hemisphere, it's fall now, so all the leaves are turning, and it's just really cool. So, and you know me, I love horror movies and all things horror, so this is one of my favorite months of the year.
I think we've talked about this before, because I remember seeing pictures of you going to like Halloween parties and stuff when you were back in Australia, but was it more of like just like a fun adult, like they would have the Halloween party and get drunk? But
yeah, it's more of a fun adult thing, and they have them around, they're not everywhere. So I do get into that, but people don't really trick-or-treat. People don't decorate the houses. I mean, there's none of that. I mean, it really is. Here, it's really cool because everybody does. You know, kids still go trick-or-treating and stuff. So it's pretty awesome. You know, it's not just an adult thing where you go out drinking to parties and stuff. It's a whole community type thing, you know, here. I love it. Plus, it's spring over there when it's when Halloween comes around. So
they should change the date.
Yeah, they should.
All right, I'm just trying to solve the world's problems, man. One problem at a time.
Either way, we don't have fall anyway, so the leaves really don't fall off the trees. We don't have the color change, so it doesn't really matter. I mean, it kind of looks pretty similar at all times of the year, so...
Well, I'll tell you what does matter.
What?
Is listening to cool, dark synth music, and we got some spooky tunes and some just cool Halloween-y kind of tracks, and let's listen to some right now, and then we'll keep chatting.
Yeah, sounds good.
I got a cool one here from Ron Cannon from the album Prisoners. I'm going to say this is brought to you by my awesome Patreon supporter, Mike Shima, the king of the Pattersons. He's a cool guy, and thank you for your support. You and Mike Erdahl. I just posted the Mike Erdahl episode on YouTube. That was the one you and I did with Mike.
Yeah, that was cool.
And we were talking about like cyberpunk and stuff, so I made him look like Johnny Silverhand from Cyberpunk. So it's just, it cuts between you and me and CGI Keanu Reeves. But thanks for your support, and since I missed the birthday announcements, I would also like to say a very spooky belated birthday from September 10th to Electromechanic. I hope you had a lovely birthday 2 months ago. Now let's listen to this. This is Ron Cannon with 6 Shadows. And that was 6 Shadows by Ron Cannon from the album Prisoners on this spooky Halloween Marko and Andy Power Hour. And I'm here with Marko. We're having a good time.
Yes, we're definitely having a good time, Andy. Great pick there, mate. Like that track a lot.
Well, it's got a cool bass line. I like those sort of cinematic carpentry carpentry type tracks.
Right.
Tripe. How'd you like that fucking tripe? Have you played any spooky games?
I was just complaining about that I have to cancel my PlayStation subscription because the games have been shit lately and I don't really even log in. And just as I said that the other day, they had, what was the name? Ghost? Oh, Jesus Christ. I don't remember what it is now.
Ghost fuckers.
No, it's a Ghost Protocol, but it's not it. It is something Protocol, I think.
Oh, Callisto.
Oh, fuck.
Callisto.
Yes. So just as I was saying that, they got an awesome new horror game out, Callisto Protocol, which I just downloaded. So I'm looking forward to playing that, mate. I've been wanting to play it for a while, and I'm kind of glad I held off on buying it because it's bloody free now.
When you do your PlayStation, do you do it by the year or by the month?
I do it by the year, and it's a lot cheaper that way. I think it's like $60-something last time. It renews in April, and I was actually going to cancel it, but I forgot, and then it paid for a whole year. I was like, fuck, all right, well, whatever, next year I'll cancel it, I
did the same thing, but mine renews in January, but I did cancel it, because I'm just like...
You did?
I'm trying to focus on just playing the games I actually paid money for, and I got Xbox, the Game Pass, and I started kind of playing Starfield again.
Oh, yeah. I want to play that.
Yeah, it's nice to relax, too. So I've been sort of doing that, and I've been really enjoying I got an ANBERNIC RGX 35 or whatever, which is like one of those little mini Game Boy things that you can put game ROMs on.
Oh, I know the one. Yeah, that looks pretty cool.
You know what? It's really cool. Yeah. I'm really happy with it, and it's cheap. I mean, I think American, it's like $70 American or something, and it's got a nice little screen. It's perfect for playing old Super Nintendo and Sega and stuff because those games, the text is big, so even though the screen's like a 3.5-inch screen, it doesn't feel small because like those games, it's like a perfect resolution for those types of games.
It is, yeah.
Because I know some people, they want the power because they want to put emulators and play like PlayStation 3 games on their phone and shit. But for me, I just wanted something that I could just like a little pick up and play thing. Instead of taking your phone to the can, you take a fucking little Game Boy, and I've been playing Bomberman.
Nice.
So it's like nice classic game, easy to play. Pick up and play, and when you press the reset button on the side of the system, it does a save state. So like when you boot it back up, you're just right back in the game, like exactly where you were.
Oh, sweet. Does it come with the games already loaded on, or do you have to load them yourself?
It does, but I opted to replace it with some nerds online made their own custom firmware, like operating system, Garlic OS it's called, because the one that comes with the system, it's fine, but it comes with a bunch of like kind of Chinese ROMs. Like I went to go play SimCity on the Super Nintendo and it was all in Chinese.
No, that sucks.
So like I couldn't read it.
Understand anything, yeah.
Yeah, so some of the games were in English, some of them were not. And so I just opted to change it because the custom firmware Garlic OS, it offers some more features as well of like when you're doing your save states and stuff like that. So I think it's cool. And it wasn't hard to do.
Cool.
I've already got most of the ROMs I want anyways.
Yeah.
Because it's the same ones. Like I already have a folder on my computer of like, SNES and Sega ROMs and all that shit. And so I just dumped them on.
Yeah, that's the main ones. Maybe some arcade games too. And that's pretty much about it, really. Right?
Yeah, it's a little finicky with the arcade games, but then there's some that work because there was like these sort of ROMs that are like Capcom arcade ROMs, and for some reason they run fine, but for example, Mortal Kombat runs a bit choppy on it.
Right.
So I play like the Super Nintendo version, but it's not as good as the arcade, but it's still, I guess, one of the better. Hey, well, look, listen, man.
Okay.
We can talk more about it, but we got to play some music.
Yes, we do.
Today is a music-packed day, so you tell me what you want to listen to.
All right. Well, there's a new album out from Future Fate. He's a producer from Melbourne, Australia. He's been around for a while. He's kind of does his own thing, more on the dark side, and his music's always really good. And his new album that he's just brought out is called Beyond Hyperdome. It's available on Bandcamp and other streaming services. The artwork on this one is freaking amazing. Like, I don't know if you've had a look. It looks so good. It is done by a really talented person called Visual Amnesia. I had trouble picking just one track. I was going to go with Kruger, but I actually decided to go with Militant.
I should say this track is brought to you by my awesome Patreon supporters like Dinner Dog. Dinner Dog's a cool guy, and you know who else is cool? Tiber83. He's a cool guy as well, and thank you both for supporting the show. And a very belated birthday to Rama Branch. Rama! I hope you had a lovely September 12th birthday, and hope it was spooky. I don't know. All right, so let's listen to this, man. This is Future Fate with Militant. And that was Militant by Future Fate. on this spooky Marko and Andy Power Hour. And very happy belated birthday to Ross Bruce, September the 15th. Ross Bruce, I hope you had a very spooky September 15th birthday. And I hope you, Marko, had a very spooky September 18th birthday.
Jesus Christ, Andy, a bit late on those ones, man. I did it so long ago I can't even remember. No, I had a pretty good night. I had to work, but that's all right. We had a good weekend. We went out for dinner and stuff, so it was pretty good.
Yeah, and fucked.
No. Well, maybe. No, I don't talk about my wife like that, okay?
Hey, man, I know. We're all classy people here, and that's what's cool about us.
Yes, we are.
Did you have like a little like cupcake with a candle in it at work?
Yeah. Not at work, but no, my wife made some cupcakes. She was really good with that stuff. So I brought some to work with me and shared some with my colleagues. And she always makes really good stuff.
Yeah.
But we went out and had a nice dinner the night before, I think it was. And we went out to, it was a really nice lookout spot where, they had a really nice dinner. It's pretty expensive, but just gourmet stuff. And it was a really good view. It was a beautiful day. Stayed for the sunset, had a couple of drinks, and then went home to sleep.
Yeah.
Because I can't handle my drinks anymore these days.
You know what, man? Sometimes just getting home and sleeping is like the nicest thing in the world.
Oh, dude, it really is. I know.
Oh, speaking of, this is a horrible segue. We were just sort of talking about cooking. I bought a device that is the most useful kitchen trendy thing. Like, you know when people tell you to buy stuff and it's like, oh, you know, you get a deep fryer, you can make your own fries, and you use it like 3 times and then like you never use it again, or like a juicer.
Yeah, totally know that.
I got a fucking air fryer, and I gotta say, it has been the most useful, trendy kitchen thing I've ever bought in my life. I use it every day. Since I bought it, I've used it every single day. I love it.
Dude, they're really good. My wife bought one a couple of years back, but it's same thing. We hardly ever use it. I don't know what it is. It's just like we just got used to using the oven, but our heat element went out on the oven, so we're not able to use it for like a few days till I fixed it. And then we did a whole fucking roast in the thing, and it came out incredible, man. Like a lot faster, and it just came out so good. And then we did garlic nuts in there as well, and they came out incredible as well. So we started to use it a lot more since then.
Yeah, because we're living in modern times now where, like all my kids, they want different meals at dinner time instead of being, like old school where parents would just be like, you either eat this food or you don't eat it all or whatever. But I'm like one of these soft dads who's just like, okay, I'll make yours without the sauce, and I'll make hot dogs for you, and I'll make a fucking chicken nuggets for you. And so I got the air fryer that it's got like 2 baskets. It's the Ninja Foodie, so it's got like 2 little drawers. Mm-hmm. It's been so fucking useful because it's like now it's like I got a pot going maybe with something for one person, and then like, oh, my daughter wants chicken nuggets, so I just put chicken nuggets in the one basket, and then the other basket I'm fucking like, reheating pizza. And it's great for reheating pizza because you can't reheat pizza in the microwave because it fucking sucks.
Yeah, comes out like shit.
I know, like, I'm not a fucking dummy. Like, I know that the term air fryer is it's a marketing gimmick thing because it's not actually frying. It's just they say that because it like sounds nice, but it is just a small oven. But it's so much more convenient than using an actual oven because like when I'm like cooking a steak in it, you don't have to put on oven mitts and fucking pull out a tray and see what's going on. Like you just fucking grab the handle, just fucking press pause, look at it, flip it. Sometimes I can even fucking flip things just by holding the handle of the basket and just fucking flip the food inside and just fucking slide it back in, press play. So even though it is just doing what an oven does, it's so convenient. Like I had steak for breakfast the other day just because all you got to do is just put it in the basket and press play and then just fucking wait 15 minutes. Then you got a steak.
Press play.
Like, it's fucking awesome. Dude, I fucking love it, man. Like I do hot dogs in there. They kind of taste more like when you get them on the street because they're like sort of cooked all the way around.
Yep.
Anyway, that's my fucking report on that. I got an air fryer and I really like it.
Nice.
But don't believe the fucking gimmicks when people tell you the fries will taste like they're fried. They do not. They still taste like oven fries. But They are crispy all the way around, so that's the one difference, but they still taste like they were cooked in an oven. Like, they don't taste like fried food.
No, they don't. It's a little deceiving when they call it air fryer.
Yeah.
Like, I mean the fryer part, because it's just basically a little convection oven. That's what it is, really.
Yes.
But no, they're very, very handy, for sure.
Again, because most of the cooking I do is always either boiling things in a fucking pot or frying things on a frying pan, but I very rarely use the oven, just because it always feels like it's just more work. You know, you got the fucking tray, you got to put mitts on, you got to preheat, you got to do all this stuff. And so just being able to cook things like oven style things, but not have to put in as much effort. And fucking bacon in the air fryer is awesome.
Oh, I haven't tried that yet. Is that pretty good?
Fucking great, man, because you don't have to fucking do anything. Nice. You don't get sprayed with oil. You just throw it in the basket, and every 5 minutes just sort of stir it around. The oil fucking drips down to the bottom of the basket. What I'm going to do, I bought these little racks for the inside of the baskets, and so my next experiment is I'm going to see if I can do a whole breakfast simultaneously in that thing. Because I'll do one basket will have the bacon, then the other basket will have potatoes on the bottom, and then on the shelf, I'm going to get like silicone egg forms. You know, like when you crack an egg and you make like a poached egg, but you can get little forms, so like it'll be like a nice perfect circle.
Oh, so it stays in the shape or whatever.
Yeah, so I'm going to do that.
Nice.
Put the eggs on the top shelf, fucking potatoes in the bottom shelf, and then cook them all at the same time. And then just fucking dump it out. Anyway, listen, we got it.
Yeah, you gotta play a track.
Happy Halloween, everybody. Okay, so let's listen to this. I don't actually know how to pronounce this artist's name. Surprise. It's SNTHSTR. At first, I thought it was Synthstar because of the missing vowels, but when I looked at their Bandcamp and stuff, it all seems to be dark synth kind of music, so I'm going to assume that it is Synthister, like Sinister. I did message them, but they didn't get back to me, so I'm just going to assume it's Synthister, and this is a track they did with PLTN, and it's brought to you by my awesome Patreon supporters. We are talking about Brandon Decker. You're a cool guy. These have all been people in the $50 club, by the way. Very special people, along with Timothy Carleton, the coolest guy in town. And happy belated birthday to Krizak Hatterack on September the 18th. I hope your birthday was spooky. Now enjoy this track. This is Synthister featuring PLTN with Trisula. All right, and that was Synthester and PLTN with Trisula from the album Tabula Smaragdina. And we're having a very spooky Halloween show, Marko and Andy Power Hour. I just got very excited about air fryers, so we can move on now. I just wanted to tell everybody, because sometimes the hype is real. Like, there's a gimmicky thing, and it's like, oh wow, that actually turned out to be really useful. Or you get, Crocs. Actually, people do really like Crocs.
Yeah, I know we don't want to keep going on about it, but yeah, no, I do like it. The only thing, we try to do fries in there, and I actually probably prefer the fries in the regular oven, just because we put a lot of butter and fucking oil and shit on there. Seems to work better in the oven, but I haven't experimented that much with it yet, so we'll see. Yeah,
I'm gonna do some more, because I do want to try and figure out fries, because it is convenient, like I say, because you can fucking shake the basket. That's the nice thing, is just taking it out of the thing and just fucking giving the fries a toss and just sticking it right back in and pressing play. That's like the best part of the whole thing. I haven't tried to do a roast yet, though.
Oh, the roast was incredible. It was so fast and really well cooked, evenly cooked.
Is that when you do the thing where you put the, like, you sear the meat and then you put it in, but then you throw in, like, potatoes and carrots and stuff and, like, onions, like that?
No, I think we had a massive roast, so it only barely fit in there. It was like 7.5 pound beef roast. Yeah, it was pretty fucking big. So we were like, fuck, I hope it fits in there. And it just fit in there, so we didn't really have room for a hell of a lot else. But no, it cooked it incredibly. It was really good.
Sometimes there's just, I just get such joy at just annoying the audience. Like, I don't know why.
You're an asshole.
I just always picture those people just clacking away at the keyboard like, what the fuck is this show? I still get those comments all the time. People complain when I take too long to ask a question, or just like, what is this fucking shit? There's too much talking. And then, like, to do a Halloween show feature
Power 85 wannabes.
Yeah. Which I still don't get that one.
That one.
Someone wrote
weird.
that as a comment.
It's got to be a joke.
Well, I get that it's meant to be like a dig. Like, it's supposed to be like, I'm insulting you with this sentence, but I don't understand the sentiment of it.
Hell, you were on Power 85 at one stage.
I know.
Like,
well, that
don't even make sense. That's what I mean. It makes no sense.
No, that's the thing. My pet peeve in the world of, like, trollish internet shit is when people think they've got one up on you, but they haven't, and they've just said something stupid. That is my biggest pet peeve in the world. Someone who insults you and they think they've just said something clever, like a clever insult, but it's fucking stupid or it doesn't make sense. That, to me, annoys me way more than an actual proper insult.
Yeah.
Or something that's true.
Yep.
Because that can cut deeper. Like, if someone just like, fuck, you sound like an asshole, it's like, oh, maybe I do, But when someone says a comment that's like, you can picture them sitting back at their computer like, hey, got him. And you read the comment, you're like, this doesn't even make fucking sense. Like, you don't deserve to feel smug right now because what you said sucks. Like, it's not a proper insult. Yeah, because they said fucking Power 85 wannabes.
Yeah, that's fucking weird.
It's like, what do you mean wannabe? So if you make a podcast to play synthwave, you're all just copying the first podcast to play synthwave music, as if Steve invented the concept of playing music and talking in between songs. And wouldn't that make Steve and Power 85 a radio station wannabe? Because that's how he structured his show. Like, is every radio station in the world just a wannabe of the radio station that's in the next town over? Like, if you see a kid playing basketball, is he just a Michael Jordan wannabe? Like, if you see a guy driving a car, is he just a fucking Henry Ford wannabe? Like, if you talk about a movie you just watched, are you a fucking Roger Ebert wannabe? Like, I just don't get the sentiment. It drives me crazy.
I love it how much it bugs you. I just... to me, it don't bother me because it's just so stupid, but...
I know, but
I think
that's
it's funny.
What bugs me about it. I get annoyed by stupidity more than I... Like, when someone says just a real, true, cutting insult, yeah, it can still hurt my feelings, but at least I'm like, yeah, they got me. Like, like, they said a thing that cut to the core. It's just, nothing bugs me more than someone who makes an insult and has that smug satisfaction of, like, gotcha, but what they said sucks. It's just like, you don't deserve the satisfaction that you just said something that makes sense, but at the same time, I don't know how to respond. I just messaged back with their own name. I didn't say anything. I was like, I got a message back with something that is equally nonsensical. That's the only way I can fight this thing.
That's the way you have to. You have to, yeah.
Yeah, just write back just a nonsense sentence or like some weird non sequitur. There's nothing to do with anything. And just be like, hey man, like that's what you get for fucking saying dumb shit to me. Listen, play
you a song?
Happy Halloween, Marko. Play me a song.
Yeah. I got a nice dark synth track here from HeartBeatHero. Just came out on Friday the 13th, actually.
Ooh.
And the song is called Friday the 13th, too. Crazy, huh?
Yeah.
And this is actually really good. I really like this one. Well done, HeartBeatHero, Daniel.
Well, how about this? And before we listen to it, let's do a special belated birthday shout out to Jonathan, aka Binkley. I hope you had a lovely September 19th birthday, and it was spooky, along with Vincent Tane, aka Vincent, on September the 20th. I hope your birthday was even spookier than Binkley's birthday. How about that? Now, let's listen to this, man. This is HeartBeatHero with Friday the 13th. And that was Friday the 13th by HeartBeatHero. And we're back on this spooky Marko and Andy Power Hour on this Halloween. Speaking of skimming through movies, I skimmed through 2 remakes. I skimmed through the fucking Nightmare on Elm Street remake and the Friday the 13th remake. I skimmed through both.
They're both horrible.
Like the Nightmare on Elm Street remake.
Yeah.
What a pointless thing. Like, I just watched it and fast forward. I'm like, why was this even made? Like, this movie does nothing better than the original.
No.
Like, not a single fucking thing.
It really doesn't. I actually turned that one off. We rented rented it out. Because I used to give these movies a chance, you know, the remakes, reboots, whatever you want to call them. And it was so bad. I mean, it really was. I turned it off after 40 minutes. I was like, fuck this. You know, like, this is just ridiculous. I'll watch the original. Thank you. You know, pointless. Absolutely pointless.
I mean, obviously, most remakes are bad, but sometimes there's an argument to be made.
Sometimes there's good ones.
You know, well, the technology's better now, so we can maybe do some of these effects better, and some of these ideas could be better realized. But in the case of, like, Nightmare on Elm Street, it's like, nothing is better.
Nah.
Like, the old one just has a cooler atmosphere. Freddy's way better. The effects are cool, like in the Nightmare on Elm Street movies.
Yeah. The music's great.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I skimmed through the Friday the 13th one as well, and that's another one that's really weird. Like, they tried to sort of condense the story, so it's like, it's a remake, but it sort of features the mom getting killed right at the start of the movie.
I saw that one in the cinema, and honestly, like, it was so unmemorable. Is that the word? Unmemorable, yeah. That there's only a couple of scenes that I remember, and the rest just fade away because it's just another pointless one, I thought. But I think it's Michael Bay probably did both of them, didn't he? He had a habit of rebooting everything at that time.
Well, it's his company. It's that Platinum Dunes.
Yeah.
And they were doing a bunch of those horror remakes. Yeah, this one was weird. Like, but it just starts so horribly just because the acting of the mom. Because, like, that's like the opening scene is like you're basically seeing the end of the original movie, and she's like killing the last girl or whatever, and just like, you killed my son Jason, and now I'm gonna kill you or whatever. It was like so bad. And then she gets her head cut off, and then you hear her voice like talking to Jason. He's like picks up her little locket and it's like, kill for mommy. It was so stupid. It was like really dumb. Not that the Friday the 13th movies are good movies necessarily, but it's like
Jason, my special boy. They must be punished, Jason, for what they did to you, for what they did to me. Kill for mother.
Dude, the worst was, like, in this, I still don't understand this exactly. There's a movie from, some people like it, some people hate it, whatever. A Cabin Fever from 2002. I think it was one of Eli Roth's first movies, and it was really good. I really, really liked it, okay? So that movie was great. Then they decided to do a reboot, remake. I don't really understand what happened there. It came out in 2016. And it's literally the same movie, scene for scene. Everything's the same. And it's even got some of the same actors. And I'm like, what am I going? Is this like a parallel universe or something I'm in? Because I just don't understand why they even bother doing this. It's not even that far apart. Like, sometimes they'll do, I get it, maybe it's been 40 or 50 years and they want to bring it to a new audience or something, but the other one isn't even that old. Like, I just don't understand why they did it. It's exactly the fucking same.
And there's also been these weird unnecessary remakes in TV, like especially when they localize a show for like an American audience, for example, but like we all speak English. Like, there was this crime drama in England called Broadchurch, which had like an actor who played Doctor Who, and then they did an American version where David Tennant plays the same character, and it's a similar story, but it takes place in the States, and he just does like a weird American accent, and it's like, just why? Like, we all speak and understand English. Like, just watch the British one. You know, like, sometimes what makes a movie or TV special, like, is the location. Like, it is the actors. You know, maybe the charm is the fact that, you know, the movie or show, you know, takes place in like a quirky English town or some, you know, remote place in New Zealand or something. And like, I can understand doing a remake if there's a language difference,
right?
Like if the show was originally like a Danish cop show or something.
Yep.
But when it's already in English, I don't know if they think like just American audiences can't take it or whatever, but then I don't know.
So strange.
I just don't, it just seems like such a waste. Like just make something else. Like, I don't know why. Anyway, whatever. Fuck them.
I don't get it.
The point is that Friday the 13th is a spooky time, and nothing's more spooky than listening to cool dark synth music. So I'd like to listen to another track. And, you know, it's kind of hard to do a dark synth show without listening to some DEADLIFE. We should do that now. I've been thinking about him lately because he was playing Baldur's Gate 3, I think, when it was back in the beta. And we talked about it, and that was before all the hype about the fucking bear fucking and all that shit.
You always bring that up. I love it every time.
Well, I wonder if he knew about that and wasn't telling me.
Oh, that's hilarious.
So look, let's listen to some DEADLIFE. I'll say that it's brought to you by my awesome Patreon supporters like Randy, like Hugh Hefner and Robot Conglomerate, and Knut Emil Johannesson. Remember? Well,
You have to think about it for a sec.
we talked to him before, remember?
Yeah, we did.
And since then, I've fucked up the name again. Emil, you're a cool guy, and so is Zach. Now listen to this. This is DEADLIFE with Neo Anima. that was Neo Anima by DEADLIFE from the album God in the Machine. And we are here in the machine right now in your podcast app, on your computer, on your tablet, in your phone. Marko and I having a spooky Halloween.
Yes, we are. Indeed, we are.
And I thought you'd like to know that, dear parents, was it now? I'm looking at the ball school announcements.
Okay.
Well, this was back in September 12th. Dear parents, due to illness, we have to start the ball schools tomorrow, September 12th. Cancel again. We ask for your forgiveness. Best regards, the ball school team. That one sort of translated funny. Due to illness, we have to start the ball schools tomorrow. Cancel again. Then there was another update, and this one is Ungluckes weiß müssen wir de Ballschulen and abskigend wird bitten Versigug, which translates to, unfortunately, we have to cancel the Ballschulen. The ball school will resume as usual. Oh!
What?
I'm reading these backwards.
Oh my God.
In this email, they're saying we have to cancel the Ballschulen on August 29th and September 5th, but don't worry, it will resume on September 12th. And then there's the email from September 12th saying, due to illness, we got to cancel the ball school again.
Again?
They're just fucking canceling this ball school left and right.
Oh.
We hope you had a nice summer holiday despite the weather. You will receive this email to let you know that your child is currently registered in the ball school from age of 5. The ball school starts again on August 22. Oh, see, I'm reading these all backwards. The point is that in German, one of the sentences is Trotz de Wetters. I need to learn how to read German.
I just wish I had ball schools when I was young, you know?
Like, what am I supposed to do with these things?
I like balls. You have balls.
So are you telling me you played Callisto Protocol?
No, I just literally today, I had to set an alarm because I keep forgetting because I've been working a lot. I set an alarm to remind me to fucking download it. Well, at least first off, just to accept it so it's in my library, you know.
Yeah.
And I'm in the process of downloading it, which I got slow internet, as everybody knows, so it's going to take forever. But no, I just had to make sure I don't miss out, you know. I missed out before. It's like, I didn't even check all month. And then it's like, fuck, man. There's some great free games, you know. So, no, I was pretty stoked to get that one. That's yeah, definitely.
You don't want to play Gotham Knights?
No, not really. I was thinking about playing Resident Evil Village 2. I still have that, and I haven't even played that yet. So I should be playing it, seeing as it's October.
Yeah.
But I don't have a lot of time because I'm trying to watch a movie every day for October, you know. So I see a lot of people doing it online, and we've been doing it this is our third year that we've been doing it. So
any good recommendations?
I have plenty, but you don't like them, so.
Well, I mean, for the audience. I mean, look, I'm not a big fan of like movies that are just about fucking gratuitous mauling and torturing of people.
Well, then you definitely won't like Terrifier 2 then.
Yeah.
We watched that the other night, and that is so much gore. But it's practical effects too, so I really liked it, and it's done quite well. I honestly didn't really like the first movie. I thought it was pretty average. I don't think it was terrible. I just wasn't anything that good, but the second one's pretty good. It's a little long-winded. I think it goes for like 2 hours and 10 minutes, and I'm not really sure why. Like they kind of drag it out a little bit. Like it's not a complex movie. But obviously the gore and the special effects are really good, and the soundtrack, obviously, featuring artists like Kyle and Miami Nights 1984. So that was really awesome to see that. And I know they're making a third one. It was quite a success, so that's kind of cool. So I do recommend that.
I think I sort of skimmed through that one as well. So is he supernatural?
Oh, he has to be. I don't even know, because originally the character was introduced in some short movies that the director did, and he was in Hallows Eve, which I've never seen. So I don't know where he came from or why he's basically invincible. I don't have an answer for that. They certainly don't explain it in Terrifier 1 or 2, so I guess it's just like 80s horror movies. You just come to accept that they're invincible.
I skimmed through it, and it looked like at the end there was some like little girl that was maybe like an angel or a ghost or something. Did that have anything to do with anything?
No, well, I'm just trying to remember what it was. There was a reasoning for it, and they don't tell you till the end. She's actually some girl that lived at one point, and I don't remember the exact what it was, but it don't really explain anything. No, not really. But I guess that's what the third movie's going to be for, right?
That's my favorite part, is when they just start to drive these horror franchises into the ground when they finally do explain it and it's horrible. The other day I skimmed through a lot of movies. It's like one of my habits is I'll turn on Tubi and just fast forward. And I got to watch a lot of like diaper commercials.
Nice.
For some reason, it's just like Tubi. I don't know what commercials you get, but like I get a lot of like diaper commercials and commercials for like banks and detergent. Those are like the three.
I get weird medications, and I get, for like online credit shit, I always get that one for, I can't remember what company it is, but, oh, you need $500 fast. Well, with this, there's no fees. You know, like, it's always some weird shit like that.
Yeah.
No, I don't get no damn diapers. I don't know what that's about, Andy.
Well, I guess they localize the commercials, because like some of my commercials are in French as well.
Oh, really? No, we definitely don't get that.
And we don't do medication commercials in Canada. So that's part of it as well. We do casinos, so there is that like BetMGM stuff where like the online casino games. So we do get commercials for that. That's the main problem with these online streaming video sites that have commercials, is they just loop the same commercials. So it's not like TV where you see like a bunch of random ads. Like it's always like if you start watching the movie and you get like an ad for Skittles, every commercial break is that just same Skittles ad. Like it's just the same one over and over again, and like it gets really annoying. It's like, all right, I've seen this before. And it is really weird to be watching a whole fucking horror movie and then it just cuts to like just like laughing babies in a diaper commercial. And then like then it just cuts back to like, oh, here's this fucking weird clown like just filleting some lady, and then it's just weird.
Filleting.
Listen, man, play me a song.
Is it my turn or yours? I thought it was yours. Maybe mine.
No, it's yours.
All right. If it's mine, then I got a cool new track here from Extra Terror and BMX Escape. Cool little collab. It came out in time for Halloween. The track is called Neurovolt, and it bangs.
Yeah, man. Well, fucking, I like cool music. What? Fuck me. Sorry. I don't know what that was.
Oh, that's great.
Jesus Christ, 10 years plus we've been doing this show. Listen, I want to wish a very belated Halloween birthday here. We're from October the 2nd, we got Franz Varga. And on October 6th, we got Cheddarak. Happy birthday to both of you. I don't even know if those guys even listen to the show anymore. But look, happy birthday to you guys. And belated. But hope it was spooky and cool.
They gave up listening because you wouldn't,
hey, man,
you wouldn't say happy birthday to them.
It happens. Sometimes people...
They died waiting.
Sometimes, people want their shout-outs, man. When they don't get it, they're like, hey, man, where's my fucking shout-out, bro? And I'm like, fuck you! As I continue to hemorrhage money. Let's listen to this. This is Extra Terra and BMX Escape with Neurovolt. and that was Neurovolt by Extra Terra and BMX Escape on this spooky Halloween Marko and Andy Power Hour. And I would personally like to wish a very belated birthday to Jean-Christophe Leconte on October the 6th, and also a star apart on October the 6th. That's right, we had like 3 October the 6th birthdays. I think I point this out every year. A star apart is a cool guy, and I hope your birthday was cool. And let's pretend that I wished you a happy birthday on October the 6th, along with you, Mr. Leconte. And now, Marko.
Yes.
What else did you watch besides Terrifier 2?
My wife's recommendation, I saw The Sentinel, which is from, I believe it's 1977. That was pretty good. I'd never seen that before. That was genuinely creepy. I think that was on Tubi, but that's got some real creepy scenes in it.
What's The Sentinel?
I don't know. It's just a creepy supernatural kind of film, I guess. All sorts of weird shit happening, and then you kind of find out at the end why. Pretty cool. Robots? No, it's to do with, like, the gates of hell opening up in this apartment building, and she's being picked as a sentinel. Well, I'm kind of, spoiler alert, it is a 1977 movie, for Christ's sakes. Yeah. So, you know.
You know what I miss?
What?
Here's the things I miss. I know when we've been talking privately about movies, I've been going off on runtime lately. So I miss movies that are an hour and 20 minutes, and I miss, like in the 70s, how like every movie just ends with the main character dying and then it just cuts to credits immediately. Yeah. That's the thing they gotta bring back. They gotta bring that back, man. I was watching American Werewolf in London, and that's another one where like literally the second he's dead, it just fucking cuts immediately to credits. Like just like, well, movie's over. It does.
It's so abrupt. I love it.
I love movies, like there's so many movies like that, especially the 70s, because it's always just like this weird dreary thing, and then it'll just end and the main character's just standing there, and all of a sudden they just get shot out of nowhere and just fall over, and then it does like one of those really long zooms where like it starts and it's really grainy because like it's like on old film they probably have like a bunch of manual fucking lenses to do the zoom in, and then it just zooms out this weird grainy shot of just the main character dead, and then it just starts playing weird synth music with the credits rolling. Like that, to me, that's an ending. All movies should end that way.
Yeah, I love those old endings. They don't do it like that anymore. I don't think my wife likes them like that, but I got so used to watching the old movies, and a lot of them did end like that, and there's real morbid endings. Like, for me, the best ending is when everybody dies. Yeah. It's like great.
No, those are awesome. I mean, the one thing that frustrates me about like the slasher movies, they always feel pointless to me because it's like an hour and a half, you're watching the thing, and then they think they've killed the bad guy. The whole thing is building up to, how do we defeat him? Well, if we fucking recite the verses from this thing, he'll go back to hell and whatever, and so they work up to this fucking climax with like the remaining characters who are still alive. They send the thing back to hell, and the movie just ends where they're like, well, I guess we did it. Then the fucking guy just jumps through the mirror and kills them, and then it just cuts to credits, and it's like, so then what the fuck was the point of this? Like there's no ending. Like it's like we stopped and it leads up to this thing that's like an ending, but they always have this final button. All of the movies always have this final button where the bad guy is just still alive and then kills like the last person or like the second last person, and then there's a loud sound and it cuts to black. To me, it always just seems like a really cheap ending. Like, I don't mind when they resurrect them in the sequel, but it always feels silly because then it's like, so what was the point of this? So it's just basically just an hour and a half of people getting murdered and no one solved anything. And oftentimes when the character comes back to life for the final shot, they're not damaged. Like, you know, you'll watch and like they'll burn them and they'll throw spears through them and they're all fucked up and then they're dead like Jason. But in the final shot where he shows up again, he's like wearing a nice clean outfit. Like he got to reset or whatever. And it's like, it just, every movie, man, just, oh, we finally defeated Freddy in his dreams. And then, oh, but he just comes out into the real world and pulls the mum through the window. And like, so he can do that? So like you didn't stop him and he has the power to come into the real world and suck people through windows? Like, anyway, whatever.
Yeah, no, I love those endings. I mean, I don't know. It's ridiculous. It's like the original Friday the 13th, you know, like she's in the water in a canoe or whatever daydreaming, and then Jason actually jumps out of the water and grabs her. It's like, it's just so fucking ridiculous. I love it though.
Also, it makes no sense. So like the lady's just like, oh, my son drowned or whatever, and he just was just living in the forest. Yeah. Like at no point ever tried to make contact with his mom.
Know.
Like,
well, it's the right. It's because the first one, it's like it's just the mum's the killer, right? So Jason's non-existent. He's dead in the water or whatever. You know, I guess they never got the body. I don't know. And then right at the end of the movie, it's like, no, no, now it's Jason. He just decided to jump out of the water finally, and now it's going to be him. You know, like it is. It's just so out there, but we all love it. So
yeah, it's always so silly because like there's always that point where I'm waiting. Like if it's a supernatural film, it always ends with someone, they put their head down and they look up at the camera and scream, and their face kind of goes pale. And it's like, bleep, and then just cuts to black. And if it's a slasher movie, the slasher's just still alive, and he just smashes through the wall and kills the last person, and we cut to credits. But whatever, I guess that's just the nature. It must be so funny, like to write a movie like that, knowing full well exactly how your movie's gonna end.
Yeah.
You know, like just you're writing this movie and it's like, but the final shot is like, you think he's dead, but he's not dead. Like the 80 other movies that do this. It's like, I'd like to put together a collage of all the horror films' final shot, because it always is just killer comes out of nowhere and just fucking kills the last person. That is probably like 95% of horror film endings.
Yeah, it is, especially from that era, for sure.
But look, I'll tell you.
Track for us?
Yes, well, that's what I was gonna say. But I'll tell you, the trend on this show is to listen to cool music, and I got a cool one here from Replica from the album Hades. That's hell, and it's a spooky place to be, especially on Halloween. And I would like to say very belated birthday. Hey, it was Miami Knight's birthday on October the 8th. How about that?
Oh.
Yeah, he doesn't listen to this, so I don't care.
Nah.
We got Energon Cubes on October the 16th. I hope you had an awesome October the 16th birthday. And Rachel and Sarah Buchelman. Happy birthday to the Buchelman sisters, is what I would have said on October the 18th when your birthday was. Happy belated birthday to you. And now let's listen to this. This is Replica with Descend to Hades. and that was Descend to Hades by Replica. And we're back with Marko and me, Andy, on the Marko and Andy Power Hour. It's Halloween, it's a spooky time, ghosts and goblins. Have you ever beat Ghosts and Goblins?
Dude, that game, first off, depends which version you're talking about. If you're talking the arcade, then no. That is probably the hardest game I've ever played. And I tried to beat it again about 2-3 years ago. Oh man, I stayed up all fucking night because I got up to that last bit and I still couldn't beat it. Fucking game.
It's one of those things where I know people love their retro games, and I always talk about how they're too hard, and like I sort of get bored just because of how hard they are. That game's fucking stupid. Yeah. I love the music. I want to like that game. When I was a kid, I wanted to like that game because it's, you know, it's like you're fighting zombies and stuff, and you're a little knight, and the music's great. But I never made it literally past like the third screen, like not even level. Like it's so hard. Like you just have to constantly be throwing your weapons. Like you basically have to be mashing the attack button. You constantly be going left and right, and it's just so. It's too much, like, and the villains just keep coming, so you never get that satisfaction of like clearing a screen and moving forward. Like it's just, that game's bonkers.
It is, and I mean, the furthest I've ever been is not the final boss, but the boss before that. So you've got these two goblin guys flying around that you have to kill, and in one's, you usually fight one, and one's hard enough, but you can manage, but there's two, one on each side, and it's fucking, man, it's so difficult. But the problem is you beat those, and with all that series of games, especially the early ones anyway, if you finish it, you have to go through again and play again with a special weapon. So you've got to go through twice. Like, it's crazy. The original Ghosts of Goblins, and that was like a fuck you to everybody. That's the way I took it. It was like, right, I finished it, and now you're telling me I got to start again and do it one more time? It's like, what?
It should just so bad. It should just be a picture of the developers all just giving the finger.
Yeah.
And that's just the thing. It doesn't even say the end or congratulations, just fuck you.
So I was a huge fan of those games. Okay, massive, right? I had Ghosts of Goblins on the Commodore 64, and that was a lot easier on that version. Anyway, so that was the hardest one. Ghouls and Ghosts, and people will complain that's hard. It's really not that difficult. Compared to Ghosts of Goblins, it's fucking easy. But I had that on the Mega Drive, and I played it a lot in the arcade, and that was the same thing. You have to play through again, but at least it wasn't anywhere near as difficult. And then Super Ghouls and Ghosts was the same freaking thing. Yeah, those games are great, though. Even the first one, I have a special place in my heart. But it's more like a pain in the ass. But yeah, that was ridiculously difficult, man.
Well, the song is cool.
It is.
Was there ever an official reason why it's called Ghosts and Goblins, but then also Ghouls and Ghosts?
No, it's a sequel. It's a direct sequel.
Oh, is that it? Ghouls and Ghosts is the sequel to Ghosts and Goblins?
Yes. But instead of calling it Ghosts and Goblins 2, it's called Ghouls and Ghosts. Then the third one, which was not released in the arcade, Super Ghouls and Ghosts, is a completely different game, and it's a sequel again. It's the third one, and it just builds on the second one. And I think it did get released on Mega Drive, I think, but it was originally a release for Super Nintendo, and that had really good graphics and bigger levels and better weapons and shit like that. But they're all sequels, to each other.
Okay, well, that's an easy enough explanation. I was like, I thought it was one of those weird translation things, like it's Ghosts and Goblins in the arcade, but then on console they changed it or whatever. But I guess I wasn't paying close enough attention because the game was so hard that I just gave up like a little girl.
Well, I remember being a kid, and it was like, I must have been like fucking 6 years old or 7 years old, and we used to go to the arcade that was right at the cinema when we went out as a family. And my dad would give us a few quarters. Well, they weren't quarters, they were 20-cent coins, because we don't have quarters in Australia. And me and my brother would have like half an hour to play some games, and Ghosts and Goblins was there, and I had already had a love for horror movies. Began pretty early, and that was probably the first dark horror-themed video game I think that there ever was, especially in the arcade. It stood out to me, the music and the aesthetic and everything, and it's pretty cool anyway. I think it was released in 85 originally, I'm pretty sure, so pretty old horror game there.
Yeah, it's weird that they haven't tried to reinvigorate that franchise somehow.
Well, they kind of have. They did a couple of times. They had Maximo or whatever it was called, but I didn't really like him. They were kind of 3D. That was in the 2000s.
Oh, wait, you're right. Never mind.
Yeah.
I knew this.
And then they had a new one that just came out, which was more retro style, and I got to remember what it was called, and I've been meaning to play it, but that Only came out a few years ago, I guess.
Is it one of those spiritual successor games where it's not called Ghosts and Goblins, but it's the same type of game?
No, I think it might be, and it might be by the same company, but it's gone back to its roots as far as it's a side-scrolling, low-pixel kind of game, you know what I mean? Instead of trying to go into,
Okay.
It's called Ghosts and Goblins Resurrections.
Okay. I love it. I love the go-to, like, what should we call our sequel? If you're not going to put, like, numbers there, and there's just some guy, it's like, well, it's either Retribution, Resurrection, Revelation, whatever, you know what I mean? Like, there's just, like, 5 words that people always slap on the fucking...
Yeah.
Well, how about this?
Yeah.
How about we slap on some cool music?
Hell yeah.
It's your turn.
I got another phenomenal track here. This is another banger. There's been really good music coming out this month, man. And this one's by Fool and Waveshaper, another awesome collab, and the track is called Encounter.
And it's brought to you by my awesome Patreon supporters, Waylon Kasky Geospatial, your friendly neighborhood raccoon Petey, and Bob Newmark of the Cargo Cult Luau. Happy Halloween to you all. And this is Fool. So you say Fool, does it stand for something? F-O-O-L, because there's periods after all the letters.
Maybe. I just thought it was Fool. Like, for some reason it reminds me of, and I'm probably completely way off here, but like the character in People Under the Stairs. I don't know why it makes me think of that.
Well, it's appropriate on this Halloween. This is Fool and Waveshaper with Encounter. and that was Encounter by Fool and Waveshaper, a spooky collab on this spooky Marko and Andy Power Hour celebrating Halloween. What? And that was brought to you by my awesome...
Oh, you're right.
That was brought to you by my very spooky Patreon supporters like Alex Seligson, A Star Apart, Restless Nights, and Honeybeard, all in the $25 club. You guys are all cool, and that's what makes the world go around, is cool people on this spooky Halloween. I guess we should probably talk about Dead Heat.
I was just about to say that. Yes, we should. We should. We watched it specifically for this episode, so it's a classic.
Yeah, so this was, Tubi, now that I've canceled a lot of my streaming services, well, that's not even true. I just canceled 2 of them. I can't cancel. Disney, you cancel it, but it's like for the year. And then now that they're getting the Doctor Who license, I probably have to keep Disney.
That's how they get you.
Yeah, I guess I just canceled like HBO and some of the this is stupid. So anyway, we watched this movie called Dead Heat, which has like I know I sent you the video, but has the most annoying poster I've ever seen in my life. Because
you're fixated with that thing,
dude. Okay, so for people who don't know, it's this movie with Treat Williams and Joe Piscopo. Well, it starts out, it's like some weird kind of buddy cop sort of movie, but you know something's kind of off because like the level of violence is really high. Like there's a shootout at the beginning and they're like shooting these bank robbers or these jewelry robbers that aren't dying, and they take a lot of hits. And then it becomes like kind of science fiction-y because there's like this resurrection machine. But the point is, on the cover, it's fucking Treat Williams, and he's like the uptight, they're cops, and he's like the uptight one who wears a suit, and Joe Piscopo's the cool one who wears like a fucking tight shirt and a fucking leather jacket, and he like doesn't play by the rules or whatever.
That shirt is so fucking tight.
Yeah. And the poster is like just the two of them, but Joe Piscopo is making like this face. And he's got these kind of googly eyes a bit and this sort of short kind of mullety haircut. And he just looks so stupid. Like the look on his face is so annoying. And every time I scroll past that picture and see his face, I sent you a video when I was on Tubi and I just fucking zoomed in on his face. Because like, fuck, this is so stupid looking. Anyway.
Yeah, it's a classic. I watched it probably the first time, maybe 10 years ago. I enjoyed it. It's a pretty funny, entertaining B-grade movie. And then we watched it again last night, obviously, in preparation for this show. But I don't even know where to begin. There's just so many funny scenes and funny things that happen in this movie. I think it's edited pretty well because you don't really get bored at any point. It's not too drawn out or too long. And there's a lot of action in it, which is cool. But yeah, what were your thoughts on it, Andy?
First of all, I'll tell you what I loved was that it was an hour and 20 minutes. So that was my favorite thing. I'm a big fan. The second I saw the runtime, I'm like, this is awesome. When you're making a B movie, man, like I'm just done with fucking 4-hour movies. Like they should stop.
Yeah, I'm fucking over it too.
It's frustrating. So I think what was this is just sort of a thing that happens with all B movies is they're tonally, they're always sort of off and weird, and like the directors make weird choices, and like right off the bat, the second there's like these jewelry store robbers and they put on these weird masks. It's like so instantly the masks they're wearing already make you go, what a weird choice this movie's making.
Yeah.
Come on!
What are those masks? They're like kind of,
I don't know,
those wrestling masks from like the 30s or whatever that just cover the top of their head, but like you can still pretty much see their whole face. And then they put on these weird masks, and then the tone of the movie, it's trying to be like a horror comedy. Like, I think that's what it's...
Yeah, at its core.
You know, like an Evil Dead type thing.
Yep.
But it doesn't quite have the... Like, Evil Dead works, I think, well. You know, like, where it, like, blends the comedy and the horror aspects, like, really well. This movie sort of, like, the tone is just sort of confusing, where you're sort of like, what is this movie? Like, at the beginning, there's this shootout, and they're shooting these diamond store robbers, and they don't die, so they just keep on getting hit, and there's like blood everywhere, and they're just killing all the cops. Like there's all these police officers, but then Joe Piscopo is like making jokes.
You're right.
They're acting like just like, oh, just another day at the office.
Hey Raj, a little too early in the morning for this, isn't it?
Why aren't these guys dead? We've hit them about 50 times each.
Maybe they're just flesh wounds.
Will you cover me, please? Can I borrow your car, Lieutenant? Absolutely not!
Didn't 10 police officers, like your coworkers, just die like in front of you? Like they're getting blown away, but like I think they're trying to play the scene as like a comedic action scene, except so many of the cops are dying that it's like, what a weird choice of tone here. It's like it just feels wrong.
If you'd be having a fucking laugh.
Yeah, it's like it's just, oh, you know, and then the one guy like, oh, you always never play by the book, and he's getting all mad at Treat Williams, and it's just like, dude, like your fellow officers are getting mowed down, like,
dude. And then I know, and he goes, wait till the sergeant hears about this, and then they get grilled in the office afterwards, and they literally took him out. You're more worried that they didn't follow the book than there's 10 police officers and how many lives they probably saved by killing them. Like, that scene is weird.
Well, no, but the whole movie is like that.
Yeah.
Where it's like every moment, just like there'll just be these scenes where you're like, shouldn't the characters be taking this more seriously, or should this movie be a lot sillier in order to really sell the comedy aspect? You know, so like that's why this whole movie is so weird to watch, because it's sort of not any like I get that they're going for the fucking horror comedy thing, but it's just either not enough of any one thing, and so it just comes off as weird. But it was still like entertaining to watch. But it's definitely like, what a weird movie this is. Like, just I want to keep talking about it, but I want to listen to another track first.
Okay.
I would like to listen to some Scandroid on this spooky Halloween. There's a cool track called Shadow of the Drones. It's brought to you by my awesome spooky Patreon supporter. I just keep saying spooky. I don't even try to find
you keep saying
Halloween synonym. It's just spooky, whatever, fuck you. Not you, Marko, I mean the listeners. So, thank you very much to my awesome Patreon supporters, Johnny 5 and Ken Giroux, Forged in Neon, and Joshua Winter, and Toots. That's right, happy Halloween to all of you, and I hope you dig some Scandroid. This is Shadow of Drones. was Shadow of Drones by Scandroid. On this spooky Halloween show, Marko and I are just chatting about the film Dead Heat, which we just watched.
Definitely enjoyed that one.
So what happened next? So we got this shootout. Oh yeah, then like the movie's so weird. Then they get this call because Treat Williams' ex-girlfriend works at the morgue.
Right.
Because they want to see the bodies because they want to know why those guys could take so many bullets. Mm-hmm. And then it just does this hard cut to like this weird mangled corpse that's on the fucking table at the morgue where it's just like a head and like an arm. And then Joe Piscopo had these weird lines.
Yeah, they're supposed to be funny, but they're not really.
They go to that drug lab to follow the lead because like the morgue lady's like, you know, there's this chemical involved in like these two guys being like zombies or whatever. So they go to this company, this drug lab who bought a bunch of the chemical, and then there's a secret room. So there's two rooms. There's a suffocation room. Like a decompression chamber where they kill animals that they do animal testing on, and then there's another room which is the secret room you're not supposed to go into. So Treat Williams was like, oh, okay, well I'll take the lady away, and then Joe Piscopo is like gonna sneak in afterwards, and so he just goes, yeah, I gotta take a leak so bad my teeth are floating, was the line.
That's right.
You know, Miss James, I gotta take a leak so bad my teeth are floating. Is there a little boys' room around here? I just got pee-pee.
Down the hall.
Give me a second.
What a weird line. And then he walks around the corner and then just walks back. And he opens the door. And then this is where the film just gets even weirder because up till this point, it's just like this weird kind of action comedy sort of thing. And then it just goes full sci-fi because in this room is the resurrection machine. It's a big like sci-fi set. It's sort of like a circular room with this weird machinery and like this giant machine in the center of the room. And then he just starts fighting this monster.
Yeah.
Which actually looked pretty good. There was a few actual makeup effects in this movie that were actually good.
Yeah, that thing was freaky. It had like two heads molded into one. I don't know what was going on with his head, that weird zombie thing, but...
Yeah, now, having seen the whole movie, I don't know what that was supposed to be. Because at no point did they say they were making mutants in this place.
No.
So what was that?
I don't know.
Was he a resurrected person? If so, why did he have a mutant face?
Beats me.
Like, seriously, what was that? Like, I just... But then he starts fighting this mutant, but no one's really acting like it's as weird as it is. Like the whole direction of this movie, like no one ever acts the way that you would.
Right. So they're fighting this thing and they're still cracking jokes. Like this thing's almost killing him, strangling him, and he's still cracking jokes while it's going on. It's like, fucking, what the fuck? Aren't you freaked out by this fucking mutant thing?
What is this thing? Very ugly.
Like up until this point, this movie wasn't, to the point of view of the characters, this is not a science fiction horror movie yet. And so the fact that like just a mutant walks out and they're just like, who's this guy? You know, like it's not even weirded out. And then Treat Williams just gets locked inside the suffocation machine.
Oh, dude, this scene just always like, even the first time I watched it, it's just there's a hallway and there's just a door into a decompression room. It is completely dangerous. There is no safety protocols whatsoever. So he just gets locked in there. Once it gets activated, you just can't stop it.
But it's a weird decision, again, to the tone of the film, that like, this is a comedy, and how do you kill off the guy? Well, he gets like suffocated in a room, which is a decompression chamber to kill animal testing animals. Like, it's not necessarily like a fun or funny death.
No.
It just makes you go like, what an odd choice, like to suffocate. You could have just got shot or something. Like, there's so many other things that would have been like quicker and like simpler. But the fact that they kill him that way is just weird.
And then what's weird to me is after that happens, so he's dead, and then they cut to another scene, and he's sitting there, and his partner's all devastated. And then the doctor turns up, whatever the hell her name was again, I've already forgot.
From the morgue?
Yes, the lady from the morgue, we'll just say that. So she turns up, and then the next thing, they're just sitting in that decompression room. He's sitting on the ground, just chilling with a dead body. I'm like, after what happened, wouldn't you want to get the hell out of there? Like,
well, also,
it's so weird.
Again, so now that lab is a crime scene because there's all these cops and stuff like in the lobby.
Yeah.
And no one's acknowledging that there's a mutant? Like, they fought a mutant, man. Like, but no one's even talking. They're just like, oh, weird that your partner's dead or whatever. And then Joe Piscopo does his, like, sad acting. And he's like, he died the way a dog's supposed to die.
Got locked in the decompression room. Died the way dogs are supposed to die.
in a compression chamber? Like, what the fuck? Like, it's just such a weird line. Doesn't make any sense. And then the morgue lady just understands instantly how to use the resurrection machine.
Yeah, right. She just knows.
This is how they do it, Doug. This is how they resurrect the dead.
Get out of here.
They just take Treat Williams' body into the other room where the resurrection machine is. Again, there are cops in this building, but they sort of forget. You know, they had like the one shot they filmed of like all the police officers in the lobby, and they just never really acknowledge that there's police officers in this building again because they just take his corpse.
And there's a resurrection room. There's a resurrection room. None of the cops have investigated it. And they just take the body, like you said, of the partner in a room and they just resurrect him. And no, but it's not a big deal.
Well, no one acts like anything is a big deal in this movie. Like, if my day started with invincible jewelry store robbers and like half the police squad murdered and then like fighting a two-faced mutant next to a resurrection machine, like I feel like I'd say something about it. Anyway, look, we'll keep talking about this stupid movie, but first we got to go to a break. So let's do that and we'll be right back.
Son, I want you to have this.
My keyboard. You kept it.
Aye.
I thought you hated my music.
Son, I know that you're not like me or your mum. We'll take care at farm, but you have a gift, and you need to share your music with the world.
I will, Dad. I will.
This summer, witness the true story of the man who created the music the world would hear with Adam McNabb.
They'll play your music from every speaker in the world.
Alex Chod as Mr. Cisco.
Hey kid, I hear you got a song for me.
And Andy Last as Tim Carleton.
Yeah. I got something you might like. People are out there on hold every hour, every day. They're sitting there listening to the worst music there is.
Tim, it's enough. Who cares?
God damn it, I care! I care.
Discover the true story of Tim Carleton, the man who created the greatest hold music of all time.
You motherfuckers like music!
Man, this is a jam. What is this?
I call it Opus Number 1.
Oh, well, my wife was dying, and I called the hospital, and they put me on hold. And then they played your music, and your music brought her back. Your music brought her back to me. Thank you, Mr. Carleton.
Please. Call me Tim.
Opus Number 1, The Tim Carleton Story.
Rated R for graphic violence and sexual situations.
And we're back. They didn't give a release date for that movie, so it might be a to-be original. We'll have to see. And speaking of which, I'm here with Marko on Halloween, and we're talking about the movie Dead Heat. So, where were we? So, Treat Williams, he got suffocated in the animal kill chamber, and then his ex-girlfriend and Joe Piscopo brought him back to life, and he doesn't have a heartbeat. And they're like, oh, that's weird. And then at one point, he turns quickly and cuts his arm on some glass, and that's when you find out that, oh, like, he doesn't bleed or whatever.
Yeah.
But the cut, I don't know if you noticed this, like, he just basically turns and just kind of lightly brushes against some bottles that break.
Yeah.
And then when it cuts to the wound on his arm, it looks like he got like slashed with like a sword.
I know.
It was like this giant cut,
Yeah.
but like what he did with his arm just would not warrant a wound that big.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
Then they go to question, like, there's this lady who works at the lab. She's just the fucking person who does their PR or whatever. And then you find out that Vincent Price is in the movie.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
She's like, oh, I got a tape from he was my dad or whatever. I guess she doesn't say that till later. And then Vincent Price is there, which I will say, because he's in two scenes. He's in this scene on VHS where he's like dying, and then spoiler alert, he's like the main villain at the end, I guess. And his performance is actually really good. He's better than everybody else in this movie. Like, he was, I think what I love about Vincent Price is he's just one of those guys that he just knew, like, he was just a B movie actor. actor, always in these like kind of schlocky, you know, horror films in like the 60s and 70s and shit. And so he just gives it. Yeah. You know, there's some actors who I feel like they look down, like, oh, their career's in a slump and they have to act in a B movie and they're sort of bored to be there and they don't give a proper performance because it's like it's beneath them. And I think what's cool about Vincent Price, I don't think anything was beneath that guy.
No.
I feel like he would just do any sort of schlocky horror film and he would still show up and act properly.
I know, and his performance was amazing. It just fit into that movie so well.
In Canada, we had this weird show called what the fuck was it called? The Fantastic House of Frankenstein, right? Something like that. And it was like this weird show where it's like this one guy who played like multiple characters, and it was filmed on like VHS in like a TV studio, but it was like a horror, like kind of Halloween themed weekly kids show. And Vincent Price, they probably had him for like one day, and he recorded all these things where it's just him sitting in a chair reading like spooky poems for kids. But like even then, it was just like they must have paid him like $10 because it was like some like low budget Canadian production. But he still showed up, and he's like still reading the poems all creepy and being Vincent Price, and like, he was like super old at that point.
Such a legend.
And
such a legend.
Yes, I used to remember that as a kid, like whenever that haunted fucking Frankenstein. What the fuck was that show called? Anyway, listen, is it your turn to play a song? I
think it might be, but I just want to say real quick, sorry, just before, the relationship between Vincent Price and, I think her name's Randy James in the movie. She's the PR lady for the company. It's never really explained, because at first she says it's her dad, her father, and then no, it's not. It's just somebody he took under his wing or felt sorry for or something. And then it turns out that, I don't want to spoil it, but it turns out that as long as she cooperates, she can have eternal life or so. I don't really understand what the fuck that's about. So
yeah, the movie was not really well plotted, because like it there's so many plot holes where like at one point they go to Vincent Price's
the crypt. It's like a crypt or something. Crypt. Yeah,
and there's a clue that gets left behind, because at this point you're like, oh, Vincent Price is dead and all these other rich old people are dead, but there's a clue left behind. And then Treat Williams figures out that clue means the fucking the guy who runs the morgue or whatever. But then you find out that Vincent Price is the bad guy and he's still alive, and he wants to basically use this resurrection machine to get all his rich friends to say, give me half your money and you can live forever. But then it's like, if he's the bad guy, why was he leaving clues for the good guys to find anything?
Sense.
Like, it's just
and it's such a weird clue. It's in a fucking lamp.
Yeah.
Like, what?
It was like
blood in a lamp. It was like, what the hell?
It was a phone number written in blood, but then when you looked at a phone, the numbers corresponded to letters, which corresponded with the license plate of the guy who ran the morgue. And it's like, anyway.
Okay.
Play me a song.
All right, I got a song here from probably an artist that hasn't been featured on the show before, Andy. He's called Zombie Nick. He hasn't released any music for a while, I believe, but he has got a new track called Arise, just in time for the Halloween season.
And it's brought to you by my awesome Patreon supporters. So a very happy Halloween to Sarah Buchelman and Rachel Buchelman. Hey, we did their birthday announcements too. So happy Halloween and belated birthday. And Gene Creamer, Private Eye, Hampus ML, and Roar. You guys are all cool. Now let's listen to this. This is Zombie Nick with Arise. And that was Zombie Nick with Arise on this spooky Halloween Marko and Andy Power Hour.
I don't think he's released anything for a few years, so it looks like he's got a new album coming out soon. He released album teaser about a month ago, and then this track, so hopefully something good coming out soon.
Well, listen, man, I like something good.
Well, we got to talk about this movie still, though. Like, not to get ahead of ourselves, but what cracked me up as well was the names of the characters, too. Like, you had Detective Doug Bigelow. So, like, straight away, I'm thinking of fucking Juice Bigelow, even though this came out before. But I'm like, all right, well, he's the ridiculous one. And then you got fucking Roger Mortis. It's like...
That one was ridiculous. Again, when I watch movies like this, sometimes I do watch them, but I don't necessarily pick up on character names or whatever. And so I knew they kept on calling him Mortis, like, Detective Mortis.
Yeah.
I didn't know his name was Roger until I looked at IMDb. And I was like, well, okay, so we got a nice little rigor mortis joke there, I guess. But it's so stupid because, like, who the hell's last name is Mortis? Like, it just feels so silly. But some of the positives of this film, well, I'll start with a negative. I was going to say some of the positives.
All right, that's good.
I think, like, the movie itself looks pretty shitty. Like, it's one of those underlit, grainy footage B movies, where, like, it doesn't look great, but it did have some good practical effects. So, like, we did mention that mutant costume, and it's got a lot of squibs for all the action scenes, so lots of fucking blood hits and silliness and stuff. And there's this ridiculous sequence where they go to Chinatown to follow a lead, and then the guy in Chinatown, it's in like a butcher shop, they're gonna ask this guy a bunch of questions, and he's like, yes, let me just, and he's like, presses this button, and then all of a sudden the ceiling starts shooting electricity just like the resurrection machine. And then all the dead animals come to life and start attacking them. That scene was something like, okay, like this is something out of like an Evil Dead movie, but it just feels so weird that it's in this movie, like just the tone of it, because like the costumes are really creepy. Like at one point there's a fucking cow carcass, like without the head, like where it's just like the, like the skin or whatever. Then there's a pig.
The pig carcass is freaky.
And then I think at one point, like a liver or something
is that what that is?
Rolls down the ramp and then it's stuck to Treat Williams' face. Like, because it wasn't even like an animal. It was just like a blob that just rolled down. And
I was like, why can't he get it off his face? It's like, it's just a fucking liver. It didn't even make sense.
Because the whole time, too, like, Treat Williams is starting to decay because he's a zombie, and then they find out, like, you only got 12 hours to live. So there's, like, this time limit where he's brought back to life, but he has to basically, like, solve the case and figure out who did this before he basically dies and, like, falls apart.
Right. They give him, like, 12 hours to live or some shit, right? Before he fully decomposes or some crap.
Yeah, and it's so stupid because the way the movie's directed, no one acts like there's a time limit happening.
Yeah.
So there's like scenes where they just stop and like go and sit down and read articles in the newspaper or whatever, and it's like, you remember how you only have like fucking a few hours to live? Like, it just seems, you'd think you'd just be like running and going the whole time.
Yeah.
But the thing that got the biggest laugh from me was when Joe Piscopo shoots the pig, the dead pig that's like attacking him, and he shoots it and it just goes flying across the room into the wall.
That's right.
That's it. From now on, I'm a vegetarian. All right. This little piggy's going to market. That's gross.
There's something about the effect that was awesome. And then there was a great line where the girl they're with, she looks at Treat Williams, because he had been shot and damaged and stuff. She's like, oh, you're hurt. Like, lady, I'm fucking dead. Like, that line, it was awesome.
Hey, you're hurt. Lady, I'm fucking dead.
It's just so stupid.
Well, we have to talk about that scene with the fucking... They set up this whole premise that happens, and it's just to have a gay joke.
Yes, yeah.
We have to talk about that. It's ridiculous. So his lips are starting to go a little wide or whatever, so they have to stop at a fucking... I mean, he's got time for this, right? He's got 12 hours to live, but let's stop at a pharmacy and get some lipstick, right? 'Cause that's important.
So, what color did you get?
Mulberry wine.
It's a good choice. Brings out your eyes.
Go to hell.
Missed the spot.
Where?
Right there.
Don't touch it. I almost got it straight here.
I love it when you get angry.
Because Joe Piscopo was on like Saturday Night Live, and then he left to have sort of a failed kind of movie career. And so I think this was like, like we got this comedy guy on this movie, he'll like riff and like do some jokes, and his riff is basically just like to do a gay voice and just talk with a lisp and just say that.
Brings out your eyes.
Yeah, it's just the whole reason for that scene was just for him to do like the gay voice.
Yeah.
there's this ticking clock, but then there's just this shot of him just walking out of the fucking drugstore just with the fucking lipstick.
And he puts it on, and then they get the girl, the PR lady, Randy James or whatever, and then she questions like, what's wrong with your face or something like that, and he goes, and he's wearing this ridiculous lipstick, and he's like, oh, I cut myself shaving. It's like, oh, right. And then he just wipes it off straight after anyway. So I'm like, what was the point of all that?
Literally, the whole reason for that entire sequence was for Joe Piscopo to talk with a lisp, and that's like the punchline. Like, that's it. Like, that's like the whole point of all of that. Like, all those setups, all those camera shots, just like, oh, this will be hilarious. The audience will love this. So stupid.
You want to play a song?
Yeah, I'll play a song. Let's see. I got this cool one here from SODIAC. SODIAC is cool. This is from the album Vendetta. I think maybe you played a track from this album a few months ago, but it's cool. Because oftentimes, when you play a song, like I'll go on Bandcamp and buy the album. Then sometimes it'll be in my playlist in the background and a song will come on. I'll be like, hey, this is fucking cool. And SODIAC makes some fucking cool music.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, really good stuff. So it's brought to you by my awesome Patreon supporters, very horrifying individuals on this Halloween, like Albion Algorithm and Gary Heather, and of course we will never forget the immortal Chrysalia Lane, and this is SODIAC with Akari. Was Akari by SODIAC from the album Vendetta. And on this Halloween, Marko and I are talking about the movie Dead Heat.
There's genuinely some good scenes in it that I enjoyed. Like, I thought that was pretty good. It starts off ridiculous, like the one where he's in the ambulance, and he's kind of got superhuman strength and he can't die. So they just put him in an ambulance and they just handcuff him to the fucking stretcher. It's like, what? You thought that was a good idea? So anyway, he ends up kicking it and whatever, getting the steering, takes off the park brake, and it rolls down the hill, and it sets on fire and shit, as cars do in those movies. And then they have him in a body bag. The police turn up, and then he just unzips it himself when he comes out. And that, I really like that scene. Okay, I gotta say, that was funny. He just comes up to the cop and he's like, face is all burning and shit. And everyone's just like, what the fuck? Yeah. And then he shows him his badge. He goes, I'm gonna need your gun. And he's like, all right, here, take my gun. And then he just takes his bike and rides off. I love that scene. I don't know what it is.
Detective Mortis, homicide. You're the cop? Surprise. I need your gun, officer.
So his partner, Joe Piscopo, there's one scene where Treat Williams, like, even though he's still on a time limit, like, well, me and the girl are gonna go fucking check out some other thing. And then Joe Piscopo's like, all right, well, I'll see you later. And then they go back to her house, Treat Williams and Randy James, and then Joe Piscopo's dead. And he's like upside down, hanging upside down in like a fucking fish tank or something.
Yeah, that whole scene is fucked up.
I legitimately did not even understand that was Joe Piscopo.
I didn't either. I figured it had to be, but I was like, I can't see him. I mean, they mentioned the name, but I'm like, is that him? And I'm like, it's gotta be. But that's just fucked up. Like, why would they do that? Like, and not really explain it or show you what happened or anything.
This has all the hallmarks of the B-movie thing where, like, one, the characters are not behaving like this is serious, even though that's literally his partner.
Yeah.
And then it's also the B-movie thing where they probably just didn't get the right coverage, or they ran out of film, or they ran out of money or something.
I think so.
Like, when he's upside down, it's like some weird dummy that didn't even look like him. And then there's one shot where his body is on the table and they don't even do a close-up, and it's sort of like they're purposely trying to hide his face. Like, it wasn't even him, you know, like it was a different actor, or it was like a stand-in.
Yeah.
And they don't do a close-up. Like, there's no shot to finally, like, just say, this is his partner, which is just weird. You know, if you're watching any other movie and a main character dies and they just sort of, like, kind of die off screen and no one even mentions it or talks about it, it's just, that's an odd choice to make, like.
Even them separating, like, as soon as I saw it, I was like, what? They go to the crypt to go see what's going on with that Vincent Price or whatever. And then Joe just says, oh, I'm just gonna hang out here. I'll catch you later. I'm like, what? I was watching it at the time and I forgot what happens. And I was like, what the fuck was that? That seemed really rough to me. It stood out. And then, like you said, then they find him dead.
And then the next scene, Randy James just had a shower.
Yeah.
His partner's dead.
Oh, I'm just going to go take a shower.
Yeah, it just cuts to her in a towel after having had a shower. You know, Treat Williams is going to die. Like, he's like, why would he even stop to, like, well, I guess you can go have a shower, even though I literally have hours to live before we fucking bust this case.
I know.
But this leads into, like, what was the best effects.
Yeah.
Because then she basically says, actually, I lied. I'm not Vincent Price's daughter. I was just some drug addict. And they told me I could live forever, but I gotta whatever. But then she just starts to melt. But actually, the effect of her melting looked really good.
It did. It was pretty freaky.
Right up until there's a scene where her skull starts talking, like, and then when the skin disappeared, that was a really bad, like, kind of green screened effect of, like, the skin disappearing off the skull.
They kind of ruined it with that bit.
Yeah, because up until that point, it was, like, actually some really good practical effects, to the point where I was like, that's really good, like, because half of her face, like, kind of started to droop and melt, and it was really good. Like, I'm still wondering how they did that, actually, because it was her. Great. It wasn't like a fake head, because, like, the one half, it was her real face. So that was a fucking weird thing. But then that led into the most fun bit of the movie, is when Treat Williams has half his face burned and then basically just has, like, a Terminator moment, because bullets don't hurt him. So he goes back to the lab where Vincent Price has now revealed his plan, and then Treat Williams just walks in and just starts shooting all the security guards, but he's like the Terminator, because when they shoot him, he doesn't get hurt.
Right.
And then there's a scene where he has a shootout with another guy who's invincible, and they just sit there shooting each other for like 2 minutes.
That is hilarious. Yes.
And they're doing some very silly, like, wiggling acting, because there's a point where they just stop using squibs, and so they're just sort of, like, jiggling like they're getting shot. But then it's awesome, because then when Treat Williams walks into the resurrection room and he just starts shooting the old people, because he's got an Uzi, and he's just like, old ladies and old guys just get blown away. And, like, it's like, that was awesome.
Get him, get him, get him!
We'll wrap this up soon, but we got to listen to some more music. So I want to listen to this cool track from DROIDGLOW, which is awesome. A nice dark synth track. So let's do that, and then we'll keep talking about Dead Heat. This is DROIDGLOW with Street of Madness. And that was Street of Madness by DROIDGLOW. And I'm still here with Marko talking about stupid Dead Heat. So anyway, Treat Williams just came in with a machine gun. So they're in the room with the old people and Vincent Price and the bad guy coroner dude. And then to prove that the machine works to the old people, Vincent Price brings Joe Piscopo back to life.
Of all the people, they bring him back. Like, okay.
And then he's like a mindless zombie, so then the bad guy's like, oh, kill Treat Williams. And then he's going to kill him, but then Treat Williams reminds him of his humanity or whatever and breaks him out of being like a mindless zombie by repeating back to him the gay joke from earlier in the movie. Like
that's the thing.
That's literally the payoff to that is he does his own gay voice, and then that reminds Joe Piscopo that he's his friend.
Doug, remember the lipstick? Mulberry wine brings out my eyes.
Roger?
Roger!
Hi, Doug. Welcome to Zombieland.
Yeah, but that's got to be some subversion shit or something. I mean, what? The gay joke is what brings him back? You know what I mean? Like, what? Like, so, wait, are they really gay? Anyway, whatever.
No, honestly, I think it's literally just, it's the 80s and some straight guys talking with a lisp is good enough. That's like, we did it, guys. Like, that was the one part that was actually funny was the bad guy is just like, you're not taking me, and then he shoots himself.
Oh no, you bastards aren't gonna take me.
You cheated me.
God damn you, McNabb, you cheated me!
And then Treat Williams gets mad because he was cheated of his revenge, so they just throw him back on the resurrection machine to bring him back to life.
Yeah, that's right.
So that they can kill him.
Because apparently you can't do it twice. And he knows that somehow.
Yeah, again, like, I love these movies where they just understand the rules of things they can't possibly know. Where it's just like, oh, but if we resurrect them twice, then they'll explode. Like, what? Why?
How do you know that? Yeah, how do you even know that?
Hi, Doc. You want to see what happens when you resurrect somebody twice?
Not really.
But anyway, that was Dead Heat. And then they walk into heaven? Like, I feel like that's how the movie ends. They walk into the light.
Yeah, that's what it is, right? And then they're still talking with gay jokes and stuff.
Yeah.
Amazing movie. Amazing stuff.
Yeah, so all in all, man, that was Dead Heat. How many shrimps on the Barbie do you give Dead Heat out of 10? Out of 5? Do you want to do 10 or 5?
I prefer 10. I honestly would give it about a 7 out of 10. It's bad. It's so bad it's good. It's one of those, and it's very entertaining. And as Andy likes, the favorite thing about it is it's a short runtime. So even if you don't like it that much, it's not a huge investment. So I think it's just over an hour and 20 minutes with credits. So what do you give it?
It's a good question. I would think it is worth watching because it's so weird. Like, it's just every moment the decisions that are being made is like, you're just like, what is this? Like, is this trying to be a mainstream movie, but all the decisions are so odd? Like, because this went to theaters.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, I'm just picturing like, all right, print it, boys. Like, the movie's finished and like send it off to the theaters. Like, what do you think audiences are going to make of this fucking weird movie? Like,
I wonder what would have thought of it if I had seen it when it came out. Because when I was younger, it was a little bit more, that kind of movie would have been a bit more up my alley, even though it is B grade. I'm just curious because I didn't see it until about 10 years ago, so that's all. I never heard about it, nothing until recently, but it's one of those movies that comes back, I guess,
Yeah.
But yeah, imagine being an adult and going to see that when you were back in the day.
Just the tone of it is so, everything's like off just a little bit, and it just makes it really weird. It's not as zany as like an Evil Dead or whatever, so the horror aspects play sort of weird. At the same time, the comedy is just sort of a little off and doesn't quite match the level of weird violence and like the kind of the more gory things. Like when that lady melts, that's just like weird, and it looked great, but it's also like tonally it's just like, what kind of weird movie is this? Like, it's just,
I know, and it just happens out of nowhere. It's like, why is she melting all of a sudden? Like, you don't even explain it. It's really, really weird. Like, it just comes out of nowhere. She just had a shower. Why did she bother having a shower if she's just gonna fucking melt? It just, none of it makes any sense. Dude. Like, that's what I was thinking. Like, she just had a shower, she's all clean, and now she's gonna fucking melt.
That's one of the best questions that's ever been asked. Why'd she have a shower if she's just gonna melt?
I mean, did she have no idea? It just out of nowhere, or was she not getting a treatment? Don't explain any of it. But see, this is the thing. They have the resurrection machine, and you can only live for 12 hours. But apparently they have something else because Vincent Price is talking about eternal life. I mean, they don't really explain it. They've advanced. I don't know. Do they have some sort of, is it that chemical that they're talking about earlier in the film? So they don't explain any of that shit.
Well, that's what's great. You have a movie like this that allows you to use your imagination where you have to fill in the blanks. Because, like, Do you have another song to play? And then maybe we'll fucking wrap up.
I do have one more track to play this week. There's an awesome new EP that came out from WLDV, or We Love Dolce Vita. It's the Cult Liturgy EP, 3-track EP. Really good dark stuff on here. And the track I want to play off it is the title track, Cult Liturgy.
All right, and that was Cult Liturgy by WLDV on this spooky Halloween show. And Marko and I have been listening to cool music and talking about silly things, but we can probably wrap it up, I guess.
Sounds good. Yeah, dinner's almost ready.
Yeah, do you have any spooky Halloween things to say?
Not really, but we're planning on doing some cool stuff. So there's a few, like, I don't know what you call them, those horror house, fun house things. So I've actually got a week off over Halloween because I was supposed to work Halloween night, and I was like, fuck that, I want to have the night off and do some cool spooky stuff, as you would say. So we're going to see what happens, maybe watch a movie, but I don't know. I just hope everybody has a nice Halloween, and yeah, hope you get plenty of candy.
We actually have a box of chocolates right now, and I am eating all of them because I can't help myself. My wife will just buy candy, and then it's like if it's in the house, I'll eat it.
Of course.
Like I just can't not. Yeah, it sucks.
Well, I work in a candy factory, so there you go. Do you have many people trick-or-treating in your area, do you know? Or is this your first Halloween there?
No, because we did Halloween last year. Mm-hmm. We did some cool things because, like, my dad's house is an old Victorian house, so it's already, like, kind of creepy to look at. And then last year we did, I'm probably going to do the exact same thing I did last year, to be honest with you, because like I have a bunch of LED lights just from like filming videos and stuff.
Cool.
So there's a bunch of like green. So I did green floodlights in all the windows from the inside of the house. So like at nighttime, like all the windows were lit up green, and then I shone some red lights on the house. So like the house was sort of lit up red, but the windows were all green. And then we had like a smoke machine going at the front door.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah, it was fun. And like my wife did some decorations and put some things on the front yard and stuff like that. So it was cool. So we'll probably just do that again.
Did you get many trick-or-treaters? There was a few turned up?
Yeah, we did.
Oh, that's awesome. We don't get any here, unfortunately, because we're out in the country. I mean, my wife said they used to get some in the 90s, but they're at early 2000s, but we haven't had anybody in so long now. So it's kind of sad a little bit, I guess, because if we did, we'd probably put a bit more effort into it and obviously we have candy ready, but just in case, but we end up eating it ourselves.
Yeah, I mean, we never really used to do much.
Yeah.
Like, you know, like we just have like a bowl of candy, but we just figured like, well, you know, now that we're all here and like the house is already creepy. And so last year was cool. Like a lot of people were like standing around like taking pictures and stuff because we were like the house that looked the coolest, at least in this part of town. So that was fun. So we'll probably keep doing that, I guess.
Cool.
Yeah. Halloween.
It's great. You have a great Halloween, Andy, and it's a pleasure doing this show.
Well, you too, man. And I should say, you know, one of my awesome supporters, a guy named Jersey, and every once in a while, Jersey will send me a PayPal donation. He'll write a silly quote, and we got one here, a totally true quote from Synth Zoo. I think it's appropriate because it's invincibility lies in the chill wave, the possibility of victory in the dark synth. And today was a dark synth day. To be honest with you, now that I read that out loud, that doesn't make any sense. But the point is, Halloween is a time of spookiness, and I hope everyone eats lots of candy and has a good time and watches Dead Heat. Go watch Dead Heat and tell me in the comments how you felt about Dead Heat, starring Treat Williams and Joe Piscopo. That's it. That's all I have to say about it.
Yeah. That's all we got? All right. Well, I hope everybody enjoyed it. Have a great Halloween. Spooky.
Beyond Synth Radio is produced by Andy Last. Check the show notes for more information on the musicians featured on the show. Beyond Synth is made possible by listeners like you. Consider supporting Beyond Synth at patreon.com/BeyondSynth. Thanks for listening.